Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Swift Gearheart. Now, if you're just new to the channel here, I go ahead and talk about news events that are of interest to some people. I don't go too in depth, but I go in depth enough to give you guys some basic information. But I will go in depth on subjects that are of interest that are pretty much of good interest to me that I believe people should know about. Also, you will find true stories as well as facts and stuff that you need to know about everyday life. But today we are going to be talking about transportation, specifically the safety transportation and where that's going in the future. Now, my main focuses are going to be on Amtrak. No, if for some reason you do not know what Amtrak is the largest rail operation for passenger service in the country. And my second spotlight is going to be focusing in on the airline industry, specifically with Southwest Airlines. I know there have been a few accidents as of late, so if you are here to hear about the Southwest incidents, and if you already know about Amtrak or just do not care, go ahead and skip to this posted timestamp right about now, and you'll find your information there. Otherwise, stay tuned and listen in on what I have to report here. Now then, let's go ahead and start with topic 1, which is Amtrak. Now, if you are unaware, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people do know this, but if you are not aware of this, Amtrak has already had 4 major incidents as of the start of this year, 2018. We are already currently in May, just starting May, and this happened early on in the year. Over the span of approximately 2 months, these 4 accidents occurred. Now, I'm not sure if I'm putting these in the proper order, but I do know which ones happened first. The first of which happened in Washington State. This was the first red flag that was put up for Amtrak this year. Now, if I'm going to go into details here about what happened. In Washington State, there was an Amtrak Cascades train, number 501, that derailed near DuPont in Washington on December 18th, hurtling over an overpass onto Interstate 5, killing 3 people. It was on its way to Seattle, Washington from Portland, Oregon. Okay, so going by that date, I do apologize. That was December of last year, 2017, but we were still hearing news about it in 2018, so that clearly was an ongoing investigation for that amount of time, long after the holiday season. Now, of course, the investigation, I'm pretty sure, has finished, which is why we are seeing details online as to what happened here. What happened was that the train was approaching a 30 mile per hour posted speed limit curve, and the train itself was going approximately 80 miles an hour. Now, of course, there was crew mishap here. It was determined. The engineer claims that he did see milepost 16 and 17, but milepost 17, which was for the curve, also had the 30 mile per hour speed limit posted with it, and he did not claim to see that until he saw the curve ahead, in which he did see milepost 19.8, which was at the site of the instant on the curve, and mistook it for another signal, in which he realized his mistake upon seeing another 30 mile per hour sign and applied the brakes, but by that time it was too late and the train derailed henceforth going off the overpass, and I'm not sure if the 3 fatalities that occurred were passengers on the train or motorists down below, but I do recall hearing something about some motorists, so I'm pretty sure there were at least a couple vehicles crushed by the falling um, train cars or cascade. Kind of a sad coincidence, considering the train was named Cascade and the cars cascaded off the overpass. I know, kind of a sad joke there, but I can't help but notice that. Going on with number 2 here, there was one that occurred in Virginia that I do know about. Now, let's see. Here we are. Virginia. Okay. So, sorry, getting my information out here. Virginia, this was, I believe, the 3rd incident, or the 4th. These aren't exactly in any order, but I'm just listing them off. Virginia, there was a Amtrak train carrying Congress members. I believe, okay, they were traveling to a Republican retreat in West Virginia. Now, near Charlottesville, Virginia, the train struck a garbage truck, killing the driver of that truck. Now, there was, of course, an investigation opened up into this, and of course, there were some other injuries. Congress members who did no CPR and other medical things in that field did do their best to keep the injured under, keep them calm and whatnot. And they did succeed. Of course, the only fatality being the driver of that truck. And upon the investigation, they did find out that this was on the fault of the driver of that truck, who who apparently says here that he was snaking his way between the crossing bars, which were already lowered. Now, of course, this just leads to the conclusion that it was just a freak accident on the fault of the driver, which I have to say right now, I'm pretty sure every one of us is a motorist at some point. And if you come across a crossing gate and the bars are down, and you hear the bells or you hear the whistles, or even if there's no train horn, there's some crossings that do not have a train horn sign, that do have a sign that says no train horn. Still, stop, look, and listen. We were all told that as kids. And when the crossing bars are down, it's a no-brainer. Do not cross. You cannot play chicken with a train. Just because it's a long ways off, you cannot tell just by you can't tell by distance how fast that train is going. It can be upon you in a matter of seconds. So, when the crossing bars are down, folks, please just play it safe. Do not go around. Just wait. So, conclusion on that freak accident. Moving on to another, it was concluded another freak accident, an accident that happened in North Carolina. A pastor and his wife, both in their 60s, were killed at a railroad crossing in Nash County, North Carolina. An Amtrak train struck their SUV on January 14th, and which killed both the pastor and his wife instantly, and they were pronounced dead at the scene. The train itself was traveling about 15 miles an hour, approaching a station, and yeah, again, this was just a freak accident. And again, I said it once, I'll say it again, because you can never be I cannot say this enough. Just do not go around downed crossing gates. It's not it. Is it really worth your life to save you those few precious seconds or minutes, whatever, even if where you're needing to go is close? Because according to this article here, the church, I'm assuming upon which the pastor and his wife were traveling to, was only 200 yards from the crossing where they died. Now that's pretty dang close. And I'm sorry, but God Almighty Himself can wait for you to wait for a train. Because God's not going to be pissed off with you if you do not make it to His house to worship, or what have you. It's not worth your life. Seriously, stop, wait for the train to pass, wait for the bars to go up, then proceed. It's not that hard. It could be the difference between life or death. Please don't put up with it either. Even if you're not in a vehicle, you're just walking or riding a bike, do not go across. Again, it's not worth your life. I can't say it enough. I mean, the other day, I was watching a video from one of my favorite YouTubers, DDS TV. He uploads dash cam footage. And one of his recent uploads, there was a dash cam footage of a bicyclist going across a road crossing with downed gates. And, of course, the car is waiting behind. Now, the train was a little ways off, so of course, yeah, the bicyclist, okay, I got time, I can make it across. He did, just fine. But there was a cop not too far off, saw what happened, and he went right after him, and he pulled over the cyclist and gave him a talking. So, again, whether it be in a vehicle, on foot, or on a bike, whatever, just wait for the train. It's not worth it. It's not worth your life. Alright, and then moving on to the final instance here. If my info will load here. Sorry. The last instance happened in, I believe, South Carolina it was. Yes, it was. We have Virginia, then we took care of Washington State, North Carolina, then we have the other Carolina here, South Carolina, in which two Amtrak employees were killed when their train collided with a CSX freight train on a siding. Now, this was an instance that had a long ongoing investigation, because incidents like this are not taken lightly, especially in the railroad industry, which is one of the most dangerous it's one of the most dangerous jobs in the world, because there's a lot of things that could happen. There's a lot of crazy shit that can go down. 116 people were injured in this accident and taken to local hospitals. 8 crew members and 139 passengers were on the Florida-bound Amtrak train. And of course, the victims were the engineer and conductor of the Amtrak train, which are, of course, in the locomotive, which took the majority of the impact. And no one's going to survive that unless you jump. I know in some very, very rare cases, in collisions like that, the engineer has survived. But again, that is in very rare situations. Now, this was a bit of a confusing case because it went on for a while. But what it is determined that the Amtrak train got diverted onto the same sidetrack as this freight, which was waiting for this train to pass. Um, there was a problem with, looks like there was a communication issue with signals and whatnot. Um, that's what I'm gathering from this. Um, okay, here it is. The CEO says the CSX dispatch center was manually directing the Amtrak train using telephone communications because the signal system along the section of track they were on was down. So there's that. It's just a bit of bad communication over telephone systems due to down signals. And yeah, of course, that did not go well and obviously ended up in a fatal accident. So, what can we gather from these four accidents? Um, is Amtrak still safe, or is it really taking a nosedive um, in a rough way? Now, in my opinion, I would say no. Because Amtrak, yeah, it's a passenger train travel is a dying breed. It's not as popular as it was way back in the day. Um, because nowadays people prefer to fly or to travel by road, by car, bus, whatever. Um, but to me, train travel is still a unique, one of a kind way to go. As a matter of fact, train travel, if I'm not mistaken, is still safer than highway and airline travel combined. It's not to mention when you're traveling by train, you get to see unique things that you don't normally see in the everyday world. I've always, I've, as a young boy, I had always wanted to ride a train, and last year I actually got to accomplish that dream. I got to take an Amtrak train at night. And like I said, you get to see things you don't normally see during the day. Um, you get to see freight trains at night, and the only sight you get to see while you're on a train is when your train's going one way, and all of a sudden you can hear the roar of another train going the other way. It's amazing, great thrill, and the scenery is very nice too. So if you ever get the opportunity to take a train out somewhere, please do. I mean, seriously, it's safe, and really, these accidents are not as common as they used to be. This is just a big spike as of late in Amtrak's record, but to me personally, the rail line service is still a safe way to go. And that's just in my opinion. You have your own opinions. That's fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions. And so there's that said. And I don't want to take up much more time on this subject, so I'll just jump right into topic number 2, which is the Southwest Airlines. Now, why am I focusing on Southwest? It's because Southwest has been getting a lot of attention as of late in terms of accidents. They've kind of been drawing the short straw as of late. Um, now, I'm pretty sure some of you have been watching CBS Evening News or whatever y'all watch in terms of news, and there have been some window accidents as of late on a Southwest. I'm sorry, I was still on Amtrak on my mind. Southwest. Uh, the latest window accident is just a cracked window, and these are double layered windows. They are designed that way so that in the event of the outer window being damaged or cracked, the inner window will remain intact and act as a form of patch in a way until the flight can be safely put on the ground. Um, Now that happened recently. Um, I'm not sure exactly when that happened, but I know that happened within the past week or two. Um, and that is following an accident that happened in which there was an engine blowout mid-flight, and that in turn blew out a neighboring window to that engine. Um, of course, that was a loss in cabin pressure. There were people being sucked and sucked towards the broken window, and there was, in fact, one casualty. No one, thankfully, was sucked out of the aircraft. That would have been a terrible way to go. Um, but there was one fatality. A passenger, a woman in her 40s, I believe it was. She was taken to. There was a report saying that there was a passenger taken to the hospital, which was the passenger was later pronounced dead, and they aren't saying um, here what if that passenger was in fact the one that was in fact that lady. Um, but assuming that was um, that, so assuming the passenger that was taken to the hospital was that woman, um, it would have to be. It's the only way I can think of it. Um, and looking through these accidents, I'm seeing all sorts of. It's not just these two, but way too many accidents than I have time to go into right now. These being anywhere between damaged windows to failed hydraulics, landing gear problems, bird strikes. Bird strikes are just something that happens. Sometimes you just can't avoid freak accidents. They just they just happen like that, and it's just way too many to go into detail right now. But there is a new accident that happened um, not that long ago. With like by the time y'all see this, it might have been this. It might not have happened at least. This might not have happened about 24 hours ago, even. Uh, very, very recent accident. Um, there was a Southwest flight that landed successfully. No in-flight, no accident that happened, but upon landing, this was a Baltimore to Washington International Airport flight. Upon arriving, the aircraft was struck by a ground crew pickup truck as the plane was taxiing to its gate early Monday morning, which of course is 2:40 right now as I'm talking about this, and that is the 8th. This is a Tuesday now, officially Tuesday. So, like I said, this was very recent. Monday morning, which would make it the 7th. Of course, there is an ongoing investigation into this right now, so not much is being said about it. Um, but what they do know, and looking at these pictures right here, um, yeah, there is significant damage done to both the truck and the aircraft itself. According to what I am reading here, the aircraft has been taken out of service right now, momentarily, while they get repairs made to the aircraft, and until the investigation is over with. Um, and So they don't have really enough facts here. Um, like I said, it just recently happened, so the investigation is still ongoing. Um, there's a spokesperson for Southwest Airlines, and she says, and I quote, as with any event, we will conduct an internal investigation to learn what happened in the interest of safety. It would be irresponsible to provide details until we've had time to thoroughly review the facts. End quote. So that's all that has to be said about that. Like, just happened. Brand new investigation. We will not know more until more facts are released about this accident. So let's review this real quick. Way too many accidents to be talked about right now in terms of Southwest. But it's not just Southwest. Every single airline has these problems. There's bird strikes with every single airline. It's not just Southwest, it's United, um, American, Alaskan, whatever flight you want. But bird strikes. There's hydraulic problems. There's landing gear problems. Window problems. Things happen. Shit happens. Some stuff goes overlooked. Some stuff just happens upon getting the green light. It just happens, and you never know what'll happen. You really don't know. Um, of course, not a prime example here since we're talking about airlines, but I'm just going to give you an example of, things happen, shit happens, even though you're given the green light. Um, uh, about a year or so ago, I was on my way to move to Tennessee. It was 2 years ago, actually. And of course, before any big trip, I had my truck inspected, and I was given the green light to go ahead and start traveling. They had checked over everything, bumper to bumper, wiring, mechanical things, everything I need to know about my truck was investigated or rather inspected, and I was given the green light to go ahead and travel. Now, I was about 3 hours out from my destination, and just outside of Kansas City, and I broke down. Now, I was really shocked by this. I was scared. It left me stranded on the side of the road for 2 days until I got help. And this was just a situation in which, this is something that couldn't be avoided, something that I didn't see coming. And it took a little while, but found out my distributor cap had come loose and had offset the timing in my engine. Now, of course, again, this was a situation where I was given the green light, everything was tight and ready to go, and something had come loose during my travels, something that I didn't even bother to think about. And these sort of things happen in the everyday world, and you just can't avoid them. So shit happens, and sometimes it happens in a bad way, but you just got to deal with it. Um, so that's all I really have to say about that. Now, going back to Southwest Airlines here, and like I said, this happened. These sort of things happen. Excuse me. These sort of things happen with every airline, not just Southwest. So you can't exactly point the finger at one airline and say it's bad and just go with another one. No, everyone has their own preference. Everyone has opinion. Everyone has choice. It's the way the world works. Um, so, are we to say that Southwest is bad? Going by that information that we have? No. No, it's not bad. It's just like with Amtrak. Yeah, it's like one of the only rail service lines for passenger service in the whole country. But just because it has a few marks on its record doesn't mean it's bad. And yeah, there's miscommunications. It happens every day. And yeah, people do their best to, avoid these things. Because heck, safety. But still, shit's gonna happen. And quite often, just, you can't really avoid it. So, again, can we say Southwest is bad? No. Alright, how about United? No. American? No. Alaskan? No. Uh, no. Any flight out there? No. They're not bad. And so, I mean, I've always preferred Southwest. Every time I fly, I do my best to go Southwest. Yeah, if I have to travel on another airline, I will. It's just my personal preference is Southwest because I always have a great time on a Southwest flight. Plenty of bag space, plenty of leg room. I'm a tall guy. I'm about 6'3", going a 6'4", and so I need a lot of leg room. That's where a lot of my growth is in my legs. And any tall guy or gal out there will know what I'm talking about when I mean leg space. When it comes to a plane, you're like sardines in a can, especially on the smaller flights. But this is just my opinion. I have plenty of space on a Southwest flight. The hospitality's great. Gotta love the peanuts. Gotta love the peanuts. Friendly staff, and it's a very comfortable flight. I have no complaints. And in the event of a accident happening, I believe that the crew is going to do their absolute best to follow their training and get everyone safely back on the ground, or do the best they can. Of course, in the event of a crash landing, there's no steps that need procedures that need to be followed for that. So that's why there's safety training. So if these things happen, they can do their best to keep the casualties at a minimum, if none at all. Make sure everyone is okay because it's their job. And if anything happens to you, the passenger, it's on them. And that's not a good thing. That's really bad on their record. Because it's bad for any company. But again, it boils down to this. No one is bad, and no one's good. No one's perfect. No one's terrible. It just comes down to preference. And ultimately, trust. Trust is a big factor in this. And you just gotta put your faith and trust in these people who are trained professionals, that they'll do their job properly and get you to where you need to go. And yeah, these people undergo a lot of stress and whatnot. So really, um, thank these people for what they do. Because when you're traveling on public transport, um, whether it be on a Greyhound bus, an Amtrak train, Southwest flight, your life is in their hands. And I'm pretty sure that when you get to where you're going, think about this. How often do you think these people get an honest to God thank you? Probably not that often. I mean, most often people just really only care about getting from point A to point B and don't give a fuck who is in between. Alright? But me being raised the way I am, I'm I'm taught to be grateful for what I'm given. And since these people gave me a safe travel experience, I feel it to be my duty to thank them. And personally, I think everyone should take after that example. So, next time you're traveling on a bus, a train, or a plane, heck, if you're traveling by ship, If you find a crew member or staff member or whatever, or heck, if you can even find the engineer, the pilot, the captain, whoever's in charge of the boat and the plane, whatever, thank them. Because, again, your life is in their hands. And if anything happens to you, it's on them. So they have a lot of weight on their shoulders as it is. Seriously, next time you travel and you get to where you're going to safely, thank them. Believe me, they will have a big smile on their face when you tell them that. I've seen it. I've seen it all the time. Every time I tell crew members or the people running the place, thank you. Thank you for this wonderful experience. I really do appreciate it. Have a great day. That's all you gotta say. That's all you gotta say. And it literally makes their day. And it's just all the more rewarding to see them smile. Alright, so we got that covered. And since we're on the subject of transport, might as well just briefly touch it. But highway travel. Just be careful out there. That's all I really have to say. Highway travel, very unpredictable. At least when it comes to the rails and the air, even the sea. There's a system that's being followed. There's a huge network system that's being followed. When you're on the road, you are on your own. The only systems you'll find out there are law enforcement, road crews, and other systems that you come across. But there's no one huge system that really overlooks the entire expansion of every single bit of road, dirt, paved, whatever, every road in this country. So, really all I have to say about this is just be careful. Watch your six, and yeah, just be careful. That's all I gotta say on that. So, now that we've touched pretty much everything, and yeah, I can't really say much for ships and whatnot, because I personally don't like going out to deep water. I have a fear of deep water, so I do my best to stay out of that department. So, sorry. Can't say much there. Um, but yeah, that is all I have really time. That's really all I have time for right now. Um, I do have to get some sleep, so by the time you'll get this, it will be daytime. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this little talk that we've had here. Go ahead and join the discussion down below in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Tell me your thoughts on any of this, as well as, if you agree on what I have to say here. Again, I guess it falls in the lines of your thoughts, but seriously, I love hearing opinions, and I love hearing what you guys have to say. By the way, while I'm on the subject of it, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you liked hearing what I had to say. Also, if you're just joining us here on the channel, consider subscribing. I try to upload videos often. I've been pretty busy as of late, but with work and all, but I'm trying to get videos out to you guys. I really am working on it. And also share this video if you appreciate hearing what I have to say and want to share it with other people. And because really, all the more traffic can get into this. The more the merrier. That's what they say. The more the merrier. All right, so like, comment, and consider subscribing. And don't forget to share this video on social media and get the word out about this brand new channel that I got out now, Swift Gearheart Let's Talk. And hopefully we get some more people in on this discussion. Alright, so I will go ahead and see y'all next time in the next video. And until then, this is Swift Gearheart signing off. Happy trails, folks. Good night.